Okay, Year 9. We're just looking at some harder problems with surface area. These are from your Mathscape textbook, from the Year 10 textbook. Exercise 3.1, rectangular prism, surface area. This is question 14 from that exercise. A rectangular prism, which is open at the top, has a length of 15 centimetres, width of 11 centimetres, and a surface area of 789 centimetres squared. Find the height of the prism. The first thing that you want to do is draw that prism. It's rectangular prism. The length is 15 centimetres. The width is 11 centimetres. We don't know the height, but you know that the surface area is 789 centimetres squared. You might want to draw it in 3 dimensions properly. You have to work out what h is. That it's open at the top. So we do not have 2 of the 15 times 11, do we? How many of those do we have? 1. So the surface area is, you've got your bottom, 15 times 11, just one of those. That's the base. What about the front? So we've done the base here. I've got, so the front and the back are 2 lots of 15 times h plus, what else have I got? The sides. So girls, we've done one bottom, 15 times 11. Then we've got the front and the back, 2 lots of 15 times h, and we've got the 2 sides, which are plus 2 lots of 11 times h. Good. So what is the surface area equal to? All right. Isn't the surface area 789? That's what the surface area is? 35. What's 2 times 15 times h? 30h. What's 2 times 11 times h? Good. What can I add on this side? The like terms, they add up to 55h, and is 789 what? Thank you. 52h is 789. What do I do with the 165? Minus 165. Girls, doesn't matter that the h is on the right. Don't be afraid. 789 minus 165 is 52h. What have I got now? What's 789 minus 165? 624? Is it 624? I just did that in my head. Is 52h? So what's h? Yeah, 624 divided by 52, which is? Calculator, girls. 12. And therefore that's your height. First question done. Not that hard. Our next question from exercise 3.2 from your Year 10 Mathscape textbook. Question 8, a square pyramid. So this is a square pyramid because the base is a square. And the slant edges. So these are those edges, all of these ones that I'm outlining there. They're the slant edges. Have a height, those slant edges are 15 centimetres long. And the perpendicular height is when you go to the top of the pyramid and draw a line straight down to the very centre of the pyramid. That is the perpendicular height, and it is 12 centimetres. Your first question is to show that the diagonals in the base have a length of 18 centimetres. Well, you can see this, but I've got a pyramid here, and if you can see with my finger, this length here is the slant edge, and that's 15 centimetres. You have to work out the length of that blue pen inside, but you also know, I don't know if you can see this very well, but you know the perpendicular height down from the top. I need help. Perpendicular height from the top down to the centre is 12. So you're going to be doing a right angle triangle coming across there and up through there. Can you see what you're doing or not really? I'll get a piece of paper and show you. Tape here, not sure if you can see it very well, but where I've got the pen here, just along there, is the perpendicular height. It's 12. You know that this length here is 15. So we can draw a right angle triangle with 12, 15, and you can work out this length here. This length here will be half the diagonal of the base. Half of the diagonal of the base. So this length, the diagonal is from there to there. You'll be working out half the diagonal. For part A, what we've got is, that's the perpendicular height, this is the slant height, and what I'm drawing on your sheet here, that blue bit there, is half the diagonal. It's actually this length here, and this is a right angle there as well. So, I'm going to call it, what do you want me to call it? B? So, isn't B squared equal to 15 squared minus 12 squared? So the shorter side is the other longer one minus the other shorter one squared, which is 225 minus 144, which is 81. Which means that B is the square root of 81, which is 9. So girls, on this diagram, half the diagonal is 9. So the rest of it, so therefore the diagonal equals what? 9 times 2, which is 18 centimetres. That's part A of the question. I'm going to pause to let you do part B, but the exact length of the base edges, can you draw the base as a flat square? Because that is what it is. As you're looking down on it, you know that the diagonal is 18. You have to find the length of the base edges. I'll call them X. Remember, it's a square. We've done this before. So to find the exact length of the base edges, you're going to use Pythagoras again. Remember, two shorter side squares, two shorter sides squared add up to longer side, which is the hypotenuse squared. We're working with this right angle triangle. You know what you're doing? X squared plus x squared is 18 squared. 2x squared is, I don't know what 18 squared is, girls. It's like 324. X squared is 324 divided by 2. You good with that? Because that's what 2x squared is. So x squared is 324 divided by 2, which is 162. So x is the square root of 162 if you want to keep it as exact if you want. They want exact. So that's exact. Square root of 162 is about, whoops, I'm just trying to think, square root of 169 is 13, it's 12 point something. The next part of the question says to find the surface area of the whole pyramid. So the surface area of the pyramid, what's it made up of? The base, which do we know the side lengths of the base? 162 plus 4 lots of triangles. Do we know anything about these triangles? Do we know, here's one of the triangles. Do you know that length? Square root of 162, but the problem is, what's that length? No. 12 is the distance from the top of the pyramid to the center of the pyramid. I need, looking at this diagram, I need this over here. Can you see what I'm drawing? I need the perpendicular height of one of the triangles. Yeah, they probably should. So, do you think you know this length here? Yeah, that's 15. So, girls, if you know that this is 15 and the whole thing is 162, square root of 162, you can use Pythag to work out that h. So, you've got to do Pythag again. So, girls, this is probably the hardest step, is that you've got to work out this h. You don't have that. Because when you do these triangles, it's a half of this times that one, but we know that this is 15. So we're going to have to work, girls, this is hard. So we are going to have to work with this separately. So this is what we've got. We've got to work out this h over here. This is the square root of 162 over 2, and this is 15. Okay? See, what I've got, surface area of pyramid is the base plus 4 of those triangles. The problem is the triangle, I know that the base is square root of 162, but I only know this height, that's 15. I don't know this. This h is not, that h is not from the tip of the pyramid down to the center. It's down one of the faces of the triangular faces of the pyramid. One sec. Okay, now if you can see the pyramid here, to do the surface area, we need the area of the base, which is fine, square root of 162 times square root of 162. We know that this length here is 15. We know that this length along the bottom is square root of 162, but I need this length, this is my height. I need this distance down there. So if the bottom's square root of 162, then halfway is square root of 162 divided by 2, as I've got there. I need this height here. And I know that that's 15. So to do the area of this triangle, it's half of the base times this perpendicular height. Okay? If this bothers you, I don't mind if you get an answer to about 3 or 4 decimal places here. If you don't like working with the square root, that's fine. Okay? Do you want to do that or no? Yeah, no, use at least 3 if you're going to. Give me 3 decimal places here if you want. Has anyone got an answer? I'll do it both ways. So h squared is, isn't it 15 squared minus the square root of 162 over 2 squared? You can do it that way if you want, or it's 9, miss. So it's 225 minus square root of 162 squared is 162. 2 squared is 4. What does that equal? What's the whole answer? H squared is whatever h is. 162 on 4 is 40.5, isn't it? So it's 225 minus 40 and a half. 184.5. Don't forget to square root it. Square root of 184 and a half is? 13. Give me more than 1 decimal place. 583 will do. Good. Or you could have done h squared is 15 squared minus, has anyone worked out what the square root of 162? Press equals, then divide by 2. No, what's the square root of 162? Press equals and then divide by. It's not 9. You have to go square root of 162 equals and then divide by 2. 6.36. So this is 6.36. 639. So if that's approximately equal to 6.3639, I'll go 15 squared minus 6.3639 ... squared. Then you'll get the 184 point whatever. Do you see what I'm doing? If this bothers you, just work out what it is. But it's not. But if you're going to do this, girls, you've got to do square root of 162 equals and then divide by 2. Otherwise, you end up doing the square root of 81 and you get it wrong. See how you're getting 9? That's wrong. Whenever you've got fractions, you work out the top row of a fraction with your calculator and press equals, and then you divide by what's on the bottom. And if there's more than one thing on the bottom of that fraction, you have to use brackets. All right, so that should be 184.5 or whatever you're getting. Again, h is 13.583 ... So now that we know that h is 13.583 ... you can work out your surface area of the pyramid. So how do you do that? What's square root of 162? So girls, this bit of working out down here gives me that h. Got it? Are you ready? What do we do? Where am I going to go now? I'll go down here. Yeah. So therefore the surface area of the pyramid is square root of 162 squared, square root of 162 times square root of 162, plus 4 times half of square root of 162 times square root. If you want, you can use the exact answer here instead of doing all this rounding. But if you don't like that, You can either put the square root of 184.5 because it's exact, or you put that number in, the 13.583. I prefer to keep them as square roots because you don't have rounding errors. Anyway, what do you get? You can do it all together. Square root of 162 squared is just 162. It's the area of the bottom. Square root of 162 times square root of 162. If it was 5, for example, the base, you do 5 squared. Now, do you know why I've written it as squared? What happens to the square root and the squared? They cancel. So you'll get 162 plus whatever that answer is, gives me. I don't know what this is. 4 times a half is 2 times that times that. Anyone? Do you see the beauty in leaving it as the square root of 162? Because the square root of 162 times the square root of 162 is 162. Exactly. The whole thing. And is that correct? No. 507.8. I need a calculator. 4 times a half, I'll go 0.5, times the square root of 162. Now, if you press times, look what happens. Look what happens. Times, it stays underneath. Now, that's wrong. Times the square root of 184.5. Can you see the problem?
But you can second.
Yeah, there's a square root and a square root. So go back. That's wrong.
BS is deleted.
4 times a half times the square root of 162. Press this white arrow to get out from under the square root sign. Then go times. See? Square root of 184.5. Now that's correct. Otherwise, girls, the square root goes under the square root. And that's why you're getting the answers wrong. So you get 345 for that bit, 0.77. So 345 I'll just go 8. Plus the other one was 162 for the square root of 162 times square root of 162, which gives me 507.8. But please, you need to use these arrow buttons to get out from under the square root. Because 0.76. 4 times a half times square root of 162. See, wait, go back. I hate the new calc. Where's delete?
The BS, miss. So, yeah.
Times square root of 184.5 equals 345.8, 0.76. 0.76 rounds to 0.8. Then you must be using rounded off answers throughout. Are you using the 1/8 square root of 184.5? It's not 13, it's 13.583. That's the problem, girls, with rounding here, rounding there. You end up with errors. That's why you're best off keeping it as the square root of 184.5. Best off keeping it as the square root of 162. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a rounding error at the end. Okay, girls, so that's it overall. Exercise 3.3, surface area of a cylinder. Please make sure you write down the right formula. What's the formula? The question is this: the surface area of a cylinder is 88 pi centimeters squared and the radius is 4. You have to find the height. You all good? Do you know the surface area formula? What is it?
2 pi r/h.
No? Nearly, that's part of it.
Plus the 2 pi r.
Yeah, the two circles, one circle is pi r squared and there's 2 of them. 2 pi r squared is the 2 circles and the curved bit is,
2 pi r/h.
now you substitute everything you know. Do you know the surface area? And the radius. You have to substitute in what the surface area and the radius is. Okay, to do this, we know that the surface area is 88 pi. We know that the radius is 4. So we know that the radius is 4, so it's 2 pi times 4 squared plus 2 pi times 4 times h. We get that? So therefore 88 pi is 4 squared is 16. 16 times 2 is 32 pi plus 8 pi h. What are the like terms?
40 and
88 pi and 32 pi are like terms. So 88 pi minus 32 pi is 8 pi h. A pi h is different to a pi. Are we okay with that? Girls, it's like 88a equals 32a plus 8ab. The a's, the pi's are the like terms. So 88 lots of pi equals 32 lots of pi. They're the like terms. And 8 pi h is different. So 88 pi minus 32 pi is what? 56 pi equals 8 pi h. Now that means 8 pi times h. What do I do to get the h on its own? Girls, you can divide by what? 8 pi. Because that 8 pi h means 8 pi times h. So to get the h on its own, you divide by 8 pi. Or you can say the pi's are the same. 8 times 7 is 56. Can you see what I'm doing there? So h is 7. The pi's cancel. Girls, look, come over here. 56 pi is 8 pi h. Shh. Girls, why don't I say 56 pi equals 8h pi? Are you okay with that? Can you see the pi's are the same? So the 56 has to equal the 8h. So therefore, h is 7. That's the other way you can do it. The pi's are the same. Put them on the end. Put that on the end. 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. So 8 pi h is the same as 8h pi. Do you get that? The pi's are the same. So I'm really just comparing the 86 and the 8h. 8 times 7 is 56. Do you see that? So therefore h is 7. Now for question 14. Similar question. It's a closed cylinder, but the curved surface is 72 pi. And it has a height of 4. Do not even try and work out the total surface area, because you need to find something out first. This is question 13. I will only work with one part of the question first for question 14. Can I move question 13? So we're going to look at question 14. Girls, I wouldn't even worry about trying to answer the question. You're just going to find out the missing thing. It says a closed cylinder has a curved surface area, so that curved surface is 72 pi centimeters squared. And the height is 4 centimeters. Find the total surface area. I'm not worried about finding the total surface area. Tell me the formula for curved surface.
2 pi RH.
Yeah, curved surface is 2 pi RH. What is the curved surface equal to? What is the curved surface equal to? 72 pi is 2 pi. Do you know what the radius is? That's what we're missing. What's the height? Girls, what you want to do, because they've given you information about the curved surface, told you what it equals, write down the formula for the curved surface only. It's 2 pi RH is the curved surface. With surface area of a cylinder, you know that this formula is 2 pi r squared, which is the two circles, and the 2 pi RH is the curved bit. So therefore, because you know that the surface area of the curved bit is 72 pi, the 72 pi equals 2 pi RH. So it equals 2 times pi. We don't know what r is. What's h?
4.
So therefore, 72 pi equals,
2 pi times 4 times.
well, what's that? What's 2 times 4? 8 pi r. So 72 pi, I'm going to put the pi on the end, is 8r pi. Does that make sense? I like to put the pi on the end because why? If the pi's are the same, therefore they can cancel. 72 equals 8r. Can you see that when I compare them side by side? I know the pi's are there. That 8r has to equal the 72. Does that make sense? So what's r? Yeah, so r is 72 divided by 8, which is 9. Now that you know what r is, go ahead and work out your surface area of the cylinder. Does that make sense now? Well, if you write the formula out, see girls, whenever you get these questions, write the formula out. If you don't write when you write the formula out, you can see what's missing and you can see what you need to work out. If you don't write the formula out, you're not going to know what to do. So if you try and answer that question straight away, you can't do it. Like you could say surface area is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. It's obvious that you don't know what the r is, but we've just worked it out. Do you know what to do now? 2 pi times, do you know what you're doing? R is 9 plus 2 pi times, you know what you're doing? 9 times 4. You might want to give it as an exact answer first. 81 times 2, what's that? 162 pi plus 36 times 2 is 72. 36 times 2, 162 and 72. And then you can work it out. That's exact, then you can work it out.
Oh, it says to put it in terms of pi.
All right, in terms of pi, there we go, we're done. Okay, girls, now, homework. You can, why don't you attempt those? All right, I'm going to pause.